All right, here's a trick question. Who's the most powerful South African American in the Trump administration right now?
So Musk isn't in the administration anymore, right? Is that what we're? Because
No,
I mean, if he is still a foot in the door, then I'd say Elon
David
Musk.
David Sachs is also
I was going to say that you're going to.
South African American. David Sachs is a great podcast host, a great business person. He's also in charge of two tiny little topics: AI and crypto. It seems like a big job. He spoke at the crypto conference that the vice president spoke at, and he also appeared last night on one of Dan's favorite shows with Jesse Waters. Here's David Sachs last night, 104.
This is the financial system of the future, Jesse, and we have to encourage it. What the Biden administration was doing, and let's face it, it wasn't Biden. Elizabeth Warren controlled the auto pen during that administration. She, for some reason, has this pathological hatred of the crypto community. She wants to drive this community offshore. She doesn't want it happening in the United States. That's the wrong policy for the United States. We want all the innovation happening here. This is a financial system of the future. It's cheaper, it's more efficient. We want it happening here, Jesse, and I think people are thrilled that President Trump is making that possible.
So my view is fine to go on Fox, but somebody in that job shouldn't just be on Fox. And I don't think he should be so partisan. And I think Democrats should be looking to work with David Sachs, because these two issues are going to define, to a large extent, the future of America and the world, particularly AI. And the way AI has now become partisan. But the blame is not just with the Republicans, although they deserve a lot of it, because the Biden administration really alienated those two communities. Yep. Their overregulation of AI, their hostility to crypto, really opened the door for people like David Sachs to say, I'm going to go all in with Trump. Sean, how much confidence do you have in David Sachs to handle both of these? And how should the Democrats be approaching this?
So it's an interesting question you're asking, and I don't know that I know the answer to that, because every time I have a conversation about either one of those subjects, I'm blown away. The depth and breadth of the impact that both of those will have. I do think that everyone that I know has a ton of respect for the guy. This is not my world. I am in awe of it. I'm literally, it's like space to me. And somebody, when people talk about, it's like, I don't know how you do it, how you train for it, but I'm in awe of the people who do. And so I feel confident that at least, it's funny. This is a weird anecdote, but I remember back at the RNC when we'd hire people who like Spanish speakers, and you'd go in and you'd interview them, and I'd be like, okay, how do you like? I'm hoping that you're proficient, because I can't, like, they could be speaking gibberish, and yet I'm like, okay, that sounds good. So you have to rely on others to say, yes, that dialect, they're really good there. It's not it's not one side or the other in terms of, there's people with a Puerto Rican dialect versus a Mexican dialect, and I didn't recognize sometimes the nuances. And I think when you look at AI, it's almost like a foreign language to a lot of people. And so everyone I know seems to think that he's a very well-regarded, competent guy, but I'm in awe of the topics, and because the same thing's true with crypto.
Yeah, Dan, before you jump in, a couple things. First of all, the president, addition to his schedule, just announced at noon he will participate in the swearing-in ceremony for Judge Jeanine as the interim U.S. attorney for D.C. Second, Dan, it's a Democratic Party has 999 problems. I put this near the top, both substantively and politically, because the asymmetry between your party and Sean's on ownership of this, connection to the private sector, talking points about where the party stands. I know exactly where MAGA stands on these 2 points, or at least the Trump administration. I got no idea what the Democrats stand for. So what should your party be doing about crypto and AI?
Yeah, it's a great question. And actually, I will say this, David Sachs isn't entirely wrong in that a lot of Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders personnel populated the Biden White House. Like that is true. And to your point, Mark, it was largely hostile to these industries. I think where there's potentially an opening is, I think a lot of these business people want to accelerate the innovation because they've got investments in stuff, right? They see the potential of it. They're not thinking about this in terms of the general public. I mean, Axios and others are writing daily. In fact, I think today Axios has this like 5-alarm fire on AI is about to wipe out 20% of the white collar entry level jobs in finance and law,
including 2 of the 3 jobs on this show.
Yes, that's right. I mean, look, AI could do what I do. Yeah, exactly. And so, if the party were smart, we need to be pro innovation. We need to say, how can America lead on this? How can we be the best in the world? I think too often we say they're bad actors, they have bad intentions. Here are all the things that could go wrong with the technology. Instead of saying, yes, that is true, but we need to be the leader. We need to have a good environment for this. My former boss in Jared Polis, I mean, this is amazing, tried to get me in 2014 to buy $1,000 worth of crypto at $225, whatever, like Bitcoin or whatever it was, right? I mean, he was all over this stuff at the time. And he would hear Democrats say, it's right for corruption, it's right for fraud, criminal people. And he'd say, every one of your arguments is true for the US dollar as well.
Right.
There's nothing that isn't. And so it's the same with AI, but it's the mindset of, okay, we still should embrace the technology and try to find a way to be the leader versus here are all the reasons to get to know.
Well, the bigger issue to me, especially on the crypto side, the reality on both issues, the train is going down the track.
Yep.
Like that's the one thing that I think that on the Republican side we understood really quick, which is you're not being asked whether or not it's okay or not, or it's going.
It's happening.
Right. It's happening. So
the private
are you getting
the private
on the train?
sector? The private sector and the world are marching
on. The world,
on.
right. That's
marching
the key,
on.
Mark. The world is doing this. And on AI, to your point, like the AI is a jobs issue in terms of not just creating jobs, but diminishing jobs, ones that are going to go bye-bye. 2, it's an education issue on multiple fronts. I mean, how many times now as a dad do I hear about, hey, kids are getting exposed to the following, they're writing papers and stuff. Like this is changing the way we learn, what kids do and don't do, how they write papers, how they don't,
how teachers grade stuff. Some teachers are using AI now to,
I would just say, I mean, just in terms of the solutions that it solves in healthcare and everything else. So that I'm frankly surprised that we're having this conversation, not that we're having it, but that it should exist. Like it's happening.
Right.
And if you as a party don't get on board,
right. And
bye-bye.
And David Sachs is in the government. He's not the RNC head of crypto and AI, but make no mistake, the political apparatus around David Sachs, and to some extent, David, are driving this policy, but they're also gaining every possible advantage, political advantage for the party, grassroots, fundraising, leveraging it in all sorts of ways. And I'm telling you, the Democrats are at zero because they don't control the House or the Senate or the White House, but also because they just don't have the horses at this level now because the hostility they showed to both sectors. So yes, they're giving money to some Democrats, whatever, but the asymmetry is massive. And this is like being out of the game in the 90s, like on the internet, right? Where both parties understood it's crazy and super important politically and substantively. Hey, did you like that conversation? Well, you can be part of the Two-Way community. Join us live for interactive conversations like no other. Go to twoway.tv. You can also watch anytime. Hit the subscribe button and watch our Two-Way clips and full episodes whenever your time allows.